okay, when we look into assessment, okay, we have to trace back the history. Actually, the public examination system started long time ago. I think it was roughly 2,000-3,000 years ago that it has been started in the ancient China during the dynasty of Han. But has been abolished again in 1905. Then after that, again, the development of tests actually is in the Europe countries, in the Western countries like US and so on. So when we look into the test, actually from the very beginning, we see that actually the test that we use is to assess the abilities and intelligences of the student. And what we want to inculcate again and also and foster among our students are the holistic abilities. We want them to learn everything. So when we trace back to the history, you can see that in the ancient China, we want them to learn so many things like music, archery, horsemanship, arithmetic, fighting, and so on. So later, in US, we see that all the tests actually are relating to the measurement of intelligences. So actually, the tests are used to measure IQs. So when we look into this, we can see that we want to measure their competency. So when we talk about competency, actually, it is not only knowledge by itself. So if we are only focusing on knowledge, maybe I think it is too narrow. So we have to look into other aspects. So when we talk about competency, actually, it comprises of knowledge, skills, and attitude. But we also see that there are many limitations in the measurement because it's much more easier to measure knowledge than measuring other domains, the affective domain and the psychomotor domains. So that's why we are more focusing on the cognitive aspect. So when we look into this, we see that actually the tests actually are closely relating to the measurement of these human abilities, their competencies, and so on. So especially during the World War II, the US Army, they have developed alpha tests and beta tests to select the best officer to become their army officer. So this one actually after that has become the SAT test. I think in your university, your students also they have to go through the SAT test, kind of scholastic aptitude test. So actually it has the history with this army test, the alpha test and the beta test. So later Harvard Garner in the Harvard University, he has written a book that made him very famous. Actually, he was not the first one who has discovered the multiple intelligences. What made him so well known in the world is just because he has documented it. He has done some research and he has documented it. So he made it something like documented study, and also he make it in a very systematic way to explain the intelligences of the human being. So he said that we have to look into other aspects as well, because our students, they are all unique. They have different intelligences, different abilities, but most of the time we are only focusing on verbal, linguistic, and mental arithmetic in the classroom. If they cannot perform, then we consider them as very weak students, and also there will be no hope. So that's why sometimes we overlook so many things. Actually, I have a very interesting example from my family member. My younger sister, she cannot study at all. When she was in the primary school, she failed all subjects. When she came to lower secondary school, she also cannot do it at all. So she failed all subjects in her SRP test. So the time she was very happy after she had failed all her subjects, because she did not need to continue. So, and before that, I was quite angry with her also because she did not want to study. Every time I asked her to open her book, she started crying. So after that, then I get very angry, then I scolded her. Then she went to sleep. So no need to continue without studying. So after she failed all subjects, she learned hairstyling. Then she opened her own salon in Cameron Highland, but she chose the wrong place. So she encountered bankruptcy. 1 year later, she had to pay back another 2,000 debt. And then she came to KL. At the time, I was in the teacher training college. So she also not happy. She was not happy with that. So she was crying every day, same like when she was studying in school. So after some time, she did not want to continue with her job as a shampoo girl in KL. So she went to Singapore, and she became a hairstylist in one center, the Yuen Hair Specialist Center. And after that, she became so good in hairstyling, and she became branch manager. And she was earning something like 12 to 15,000 per month as a branch manager in Singapore. And she was a failure case, cannot study, cannot do anything. And she was earning the money like a professor in Singapore. So sometimes when we look into the intelligences, we see that maybe we have overlooked so many things. Actually, we always think that the most important one is the verbal linguistic or maybe mental arithmetic. Actually, there are many other intelligences, like kinesthetic, music, and so on. But normally we do not really measure all these intelligences. Okay, but we have to come back to our core business. Okay, all of us are lecturers and teachers in the universities or maybe colleges. So we have to come back to our core business. Our core business is the teaching, learning, and assessment. So when we are doing the assessment, we have to look into some of the principles, the important principles of assessment. Like, first, we have to specify what to be assessed. Okay, this one is important. So we have to tell our student the scope of their study. What are the topics that will be tested? Then after that, we have to select the assessment procedures. So let's say you want to use the objective test or subjective test, or maybe you want to use projects or essay. Maybe you want to give them quizzes and so on. So we have to select the right assessment procedures. Okay. Then we have to use many different methods. That's why in the school also we can see that normally we do not only give them the let's say objective test, we also give them subjective test. So because you can see that objective test has its limitation. It is good, but it has its limitation. Subjective test also good, but it also has its limitation. So we have to balance it up by using different methods. And also we have to maybe give them some practical tests and so on. And we also need to aware of the limitation because whatever method that we use, definitely it has its limitation. Like doing research also same. Some lecturers, they like to use qualitative research method. Some they like to use quantitative. Qualitative oriented lecturers, they do not like quantitative method. So they always maybe criticize the quantitative method. Quantitative approach, lecturers, they also do not like the qualitative method. So they always say that one is very biased, very subjective, and so on. Both also having their advantages and disadvantages. So let's say when our students doing their research, so sometimes they always ask us, which one is the best one? So normally we cannot tell them which one is the best one because there is no best method. Whatever method also good. As long as you can justify, you can tell why you are using that method, then you are on the right way. So the exam also same. Let's say true or false statement. Can we use true or false statement in our quizzes? Cannot. True or false? Matching, let's say. Matching normally people say is very low level. We normally use it in the kindergarten level. Okay. So can we do matching or not for, let's say, for the test in the university.
Yes.
Is it okay to use matching?
Yes.
I think it's okay actually. If you are doing formatting assessment, it's okay, no problem. True or false also can. Matching also can. But you can only use it at the formatting assessment level. But if you want to use it for the summative level, then maybe it is not so appropriate. For the summative assessment, normally we have to use a more formal, more comprehensive method. So we should not use this true or false, matching, fill in the blanks and so on. Even though this method actually also can be used. So and also you have to know that again, we cannot give them too many tests. Actually, if you give them too many tests, actually it's also not good because there's no such need again to give the test. Then you should not give them. If you do not have the need, then you can don't give. Okay, we have to aware that there are many different types of assessment procedures. So we have to see which one they want to use. If you want to, let's say, monitor the student learning, then we have to use the formative method. If you want to certify their learning, then you have to use the summative. What are the differences between the formative and summative assessment? Do you see any differences or not? Are you familiar with these terms of formative assessment? You are familiar? Okay, here, do you use the term of formative assessment?
Yes.
You use it also, right? Okay, formative normally you use it for the small tests during the semester, quizzes and so on. Normally we do not standardize it. Let's say if you are teaching one class and he's teaching another class for the same subject, same code, you can do your own test. You also can do a different set of questions. It doesn't matter, even though your questions are not the same, the level of difficulty also not the same, the scope of the cover in the test also not the same. Also, we will not have a problem because the reason is because the formative issue is used to help the student to improve. So we cannot do the same test for the student. If my student, they have only learned 2 topics, so I just give them the question for the 2 topics, and the class may be faster, and the lecturer has taught maybe 5 topics. So you can find 5 topics question, also matter. Later maybe I will catch up with you later because I need to do replacement and so on to catch up. Okay. So at the end, okay, everybody has to sit for the same test. For the summative one, you cannot give different tests. It must be the same. It must be standardized, and also must be reference. That means the test given can be used to compare. To compare again with the student in your class and the student in another class, because they are using the same test. Then that's why we can compare. You can see who did better, who was the best student in that test. But in the formative test doesn't matter. Even though you do not want to use the marks, also doesn't matter. Maybe you say these marks are not taken into consideration. No marks given, but you still get them marks, you still mark it and so on. But you do not use the marks for the grading. It is still okay because we are using the formative to help the student to learn. So you can fail them actually. You want to make it very difficult and make them aware that they do not understand, they do not know about the topic, it is okay. So you can make it very difficult and let them fail in the test. After that, they will work very hard for the final, because the one actually is not taken into consideration. So we can use it for learning purposes. Okay, so there are many different types of tests, and normally we are dealing with these 2 different concepts of assessment. For the summative one, normally we call it as norm-reference. I mean, we can use it to compare the performance of the student in this class and these other classes and so on. We also can use the marks in this class to compare with the student at the national level or maybe at the international level. So if we are comparing them with other groups of students, then that one is non-reference assessment or summative assessment. Summative, that means we try to sum up the learning in a test by giving them question with cover many topics. And normally summative test is comprehensive. Non-reference also comprehensive. Comprehensive, that means it covers many topics. But formative or criterion reference, we are only focusing on a few topics. So we can give many questions from one topic. The one is the criterion reference. And now actually the government is moving forward to this criterion reference test. So let's say you have heard about the KSSR in the primary school. Actually, the ministry is moving from this non-reference test to the criterion references. Do you have any brothers, sisters, relatives who are studying in standard 1 and standard 2 in the primary school? If you have that, then maybe you know that actually now the assessment has been changed already in the primary school. The ministry is no more using the summative assessment and the non-reference assessment. Now actually has come to the standard 2 already. They have started with this criterion-based assessment. That means the teacher actually is assessing the student by looking into the criteria achieved by the student. So they have to keep one file for each student, one student, one file. Then they have to see again, the student can write essay at this level, pen 1 or pen 2, pen 3, and so on. Can speak at that level, can present at that level, and so on. So it's not marks, but it's the criteria. What pen are you in for that skills? So and also very much of skill oriented and not knowledge oriented. So that is a difference number. And this has caused a lot of complaints also from the teachers because it is quite burdening for the teachers to do all this documentation. Because they have to keep one file for one student. So actually it's a lot of work.
Prof, excuse me.
Yeah.
Will they continue to monitor them from year 2, year 3,
until year 6? Actually, now they are planning for the stage 2. Stage 2 actually starting from standard 4, 5, and 6. So that now they are training the teachers to teach history in the primary school. In the second stage, I mean, after they have completed the standard 1, 2, 3, in standard 4, they're going to learn history. Before that, history was not taught in the primary school. They're going to introduce the subject history. They say history is very important. All the students must learn about history. So they're going to introduce the subject starting from level 4. And for that, all the subjects also, they're going to use this standard-based assessment. That means no marks given. So after you have set for the test, you do not get your marks. So actually, this also it has the cultural shock to the parents. The parents normally they used to see the marks in the report card. Now they have problem to understand that the student achievement when they look into the report card. It doesn't have marks, no marks at all. They just put pen 1, pen 2, pen 3 for this subject, for this skill, pen 4, for this skill, pen 5. So the parents are not so happy because they want to see the children score A. And they say, hey, why I do not see A's inside the report card? Now no more A's. So they were not quite happy with that because that is not our common practice. And we used to see many A's. We want our children to score 20 A's, 18 A's, 10 A's, and so on. At one time, our SPM students that tried to score 20 A's. After that, the government said, no, you cannot take 20 subjects. You only can take 13 subjects, the most. So now, and also now they also ask the boarding school students to take 10 subjects only. Because many students they are chasing for A's. And the government is realizing of that, so they said, no, they don't want students to try to score as many A's as possible. Because at one time, the A actually also is a controversial issue. they're trying to compare A's, actually how many A's. But the problem is, okay, 20 A's is not better than 10 A's. Why? Because the 20A, actually they actually score at 75 and above level. But the 10 A's, many are getting 90 and above. So to be compared and see that 20 A's are very good. We give them scholarship, give them everything. But actually, in fact, the 10 A students, they are better. These are all the top students, and they score 90 and above. But they do not get the scholarship and so on because of the number of A's are not as many as the 20 A students. So that's why they try to no, cannot compare like that. You have to go back to the criteria. Criteria based also a problem because criteria based is also school based. So now the ministry is moving from centralized exam to school based exam, from non-reference exam to criteria based exam. That means that the test will be conducted by the teachers themselves. The marks are given by the teachers. Is it good or not good? It has the rationale why the ministry wanted to give this power to the teachers. They said teachers are the ones who are teaching in the classroom. They know their students better compared with the examiner. But the problem is not all the teachers they have been trained to become professional examiners. So when they are doing the marking, some may have different standard. Some look at the level they say, oh, A. But actually you compare with the student in the maybe rural urban school, maybe actually it's not A, it's C. Like sometimes in the university also say, our student in the branches, okay, they get A. When the assignment comes to the main campus to be examined again another time by the examiner at the main campus, they normally get C. And sometimes they get failed because the standard is very different. The standard at these branches normally are lower than the main campus. Because main campus there are so many senior lecturers, experienced lecturers, but in the branches normally they are young lecturers, so they give very high marks to the student. Okay, when we look at the test also, we can divide it into two. Okay, normally for the traditional test, we can divide into two. So even though we are using the criterion-based assessment, we still cannot run away from all these traditional type of tests. We still have to use objective question, subjective question. But now, okay, what we need to do is to balance it out with other types of assessment. So other types of assessment we call it as alternative assessment or authentic assessment. That means we should not only use the test by itself. If we are using test by itself, that means we are very much of exam oriented. Like last time when we did our study, I don't know, okay, last time I did my study, my first degree in University Malaya, we studied for 1 whole year. Then we set for the exam. There was no marks, okay, for assignment, attendance, presentation, and so on. And also quizzes. Even though we have quizzes during the study in the semester, but all the marks are not taken into consideration. So finally, when you sit for the final, if you cannot pass, you fail. So that time many students fail, that they cannot continue. But after that, okay, the university system has been changed from this term system to semester system. So you can see that whatever also got marks. Attendance got marks, presentation got marks, assignment got marks, whatever also got marks. So in this semester system, actually it's easier to pass. As long as the students they are hardworking enough, if they are willing to do, nobody can fail. So it's better because the reason of doing this actually is not to fail the student. Actually the purpose of the assessment is not only to prove, but actually also to improve. This one has been mentioned by Stephen Bean, Patton, Michael Patton, and so on, so that they have highlighted it in their books and so on. So they say that the purpose of the assessment actually not to prove, not only to prove, but actually to improve the student learning. If we are helping students to pass, to improve the learning, it's okay, no problem. Because if you go to United States or other advanced country to study, you also can see that normally students, nobody can fail actually, as long as they are willing to study. Nobody can fail. That's the right concept of education. As long as they are willing to do correction, they want to change according to the comments and so on, then they do not deserve the failure. They should be given a pass in their assignment. And if they can do better, after that, then can change the marks and so on. So there's a new concept of assessment. So we need to move actually, the trend now actually, we have to move from this summative type of assessment to formative type of assessment. I mean, we have to give them the assessment during the learning. Like now, in the primary school also said, the assessment is not at the end, actually it's throughout, during the teaching, during the learning, so they give marks to the student. If you do like that, it's good and also not good because for students sometimes, some students they are not all the time ready, they are not ever ready. Many students they are sleeping in the class all the time. But when it comes to the final, they burn the midnight ones and to study many books and all. After that, they do very well. They score very good marks. So for that kind of student, maybe for them it's not fair. They say, oh, it's not fair because they say, okay, I'm not ready. When you are assessing me that time, I'm not ready. So, but for many students, they find that maybe also it can reduce this pressure, stress, and so on. Because if you give them the test at the end, they have to study many things. Okay, like last time in the university, like when I did my study in Yuen, I studied for 1 whole year. Then I sat for the test. If I cannot perform, I fail. So the pressure is very high. Sometimes you cannot sleep because when you think of the exam, you find that it's really frightening because you cannot feel it in that exam, and you got no marks from other components, all from the exam. So okay, if we look into this new method, maybe better for students because they can get marks. Whatever also they can get marks as long as they are willing to participate in the discussion, presentation, and so on. So okay, so they say now actually we have to change. We have to use many other methods like projects, portfolio. Let's say you keep a portfolio of learning. Then after that you will show the evidence of your learning, and you can get marks. Okay, like actually I started to get another PhD from IMIT based on the portfolio method. Because after I did my postgraduate diploma in IMIT, I was asked to assist the many ministry to do program evaluation. So when I was doing that, okay, I have actually collected many evidence of doing the program evaluation with 15 ministries in Malaysia. So I was helping them to do the documentation for program evaluation and so on. So all in Malay language. So when I checked the ministry, they say, you want to get your PhD, you have to translate that to English. Then okay, you can be given another PhD degree. So that is a portfolio method because a portfolio you have to keep all the evidence. Okay, you guide them to formulate the action plan to do the program evaluation. After that, you conduct workshop with them to help them to identify their problem areas. Okay, then help them to develop their business instrument. Then after that, to come up with their report and so on. Actually, a lot of work. So something like 15 theses, but all in Malay language. So cannot be done also. So when I look into that is very time consuming. I don't want to do. So okay, we can also use other method like 1 minute paper. So when we are teaching, we can also give assessment like ask students to write something in 1 minute. Okay, and pass up to the lecturer to see maybe after the class and so on. So when we are doing this, okay, we can also get the feedback regarding this learning. I can see how much that they have learned and so on. So okay, why we need to move from the summative type of assessment, non-reference assessment to criteria-based and formative assessment, because okay, we want to develop the holistic personalities among the students. We want them to learn many things. When we look into the national philosophy education, we see that actually this has been stated long time ago. Actually, we want them to learn many things to develop their intellectual, spiritual, emotional, and physical abilities, and so on. So this one has been stated in the national philosophy education. So that's why when we are doing our teaching, we have to also look into that aspect. And this former Minister of Education, Ishamudin, also did mention in one press conference that the school now actually also going to change. Actually, we have to reduce the subject. Actually, this has been done in Singapore. Singapore, they have introduced the concept of teach less, learn more. So they say actually we should not teach many things. We should teach less. Like in the university also said, no, you teach the key concepts. So you don't teach everything. So like here, if I teach many things also, our participants also will fall to sleep. But here, I only have 2 hours, so I cannot keep a lot of activities. So, but if you have longer time, then maybe I can just teach less. I can 2 hours, I try to teach 1 hour. Then another hour, we have activities and so on. So we have to change to that concept. So if you have 2 hours slot, don't try to teach the 2 hours. You have to maybe use 1 hour for teaching, another hour for presentation, activities, assignment, and so on. And we have to emphasize the skills and abilities, not the knowledge, and also personal development. We have to use more project-based assignment. So what does it mean by project-based? I think later we can look into one video clip, and from there we can have better idea regarding this project-based. I think maybe you also have use it in the teaching. So I think maybe it's not something new, because when we look into the video, we can get some ideas also, because that video clip actually is quite interesting. And we need to move from this summative type of assessment to more continuous assessment, more formative. That means, let's say you do not have final exam in your course, it's okay. I do not know, but at the undergraduate level, at the diploma level, normally we still need to have the final assessment, because we cannot really do away that. If you do not have that component, maybe the MQA will question you. Why you do not have final exam? Like now, actually, in the university also said, I am the head of the special studies. Normally, our master program, we do not have final assessment, but the MQA is a requirement. They want us to have the final assessment. So recently, again, I attended one meeting, and we were asked to discuss on the method and develop some system to overcome the problem. So finally, we have to identify in that course. Let's say you have many assignments. You have to identify which one is the final assessment. Final, that means normally then they say we do not have final test. We do not have a final exam. But they say no matter how, we want you to identify one as the final assessment. When the student appeal, if the student they are not happy with the marks when they appeal, you must be able to identify which one that you need to remark and recheck to look into their marks. If you do not have something like one final assessment, then you have to remark everything. Let's say for your course, you have 7 assignments. So are you able to remark all the 7 assignments? Because some maybe presentation, some group work, some maybe pair work. So then we have problem, because group work maybe is not really from your own actually. Maybe it's the contribution from many members in the group. So if you do not, the final one should be individual assignment. Should be maybe the most important one, but maybe not the highest mark one, maybe only 30%. But they might also have problem because many lecturers also do not agree. They say, we identify the one as a final, but it's not the highest marks one. And maybe also the student also, they do not have problem in that component. And the student did badly in other components. So if the student want to appeal, and the lecturer remark the component that they do not have problem, and so cannot solve the problem. So actually, it will cause a lot of problems, so that the final assessment. So until now, actually, we find that actually it's still very difficult to overcome the problem. But the MQA, they want us to identify which one is your final assessment. Which one is the most important one. When the student appeal, you have to use that one to remark and then check the assignment to make a decision on that. But the trend now actually also is contradicting with that also with the MQA regulation, because the trend now says that we have to move away from the individual assignment to group assignment. But if we are giving too many group assignments, then we also have problem, because how are we going to judge it? Okay, who did better, and if the student appeal, can we look into the group assignment? So that is also the problem. But the trend now actually is more group assignment. We have to give more group assignment because we want to encourage collaboration, communication, teamwork, team spirit, and so on among the students. So it's something contradicting. So the group assessment is contradicting with the MQA requirement. When I went to US to do a study there, I also find that actually the students in the United States, they do not do many group assignments actually. They do not like group assignment. Most of them they like to do individual assignment. I think maybe because of the individualistic behavior, they like to do the assignment by themselves. They don't want to do it together, even though they have the discussion together in a group. But they still prefer to have the assignment by their own. So when I ask them, do you have many group assignments? They say no. This one is the group assignment. They say actually no, just the discussion only. No marks for the discussion. All the assignment actually are the individual assignment. But I don't know. I went to one university to do, but other university I'm not quite sure. And okay, now we have to look into more performance-based, and process also should be given marks. Last time we only look into the product, the process we are not, we do not bother so much. But now they say we also have to look into the process. But when the process actually is quite tedious, like let's say to do the project, actually the duration should also include the duration of the drafts. The first draft, second draft, third draft. But are we going to look into all the drafts, the earlier drafts, the first version, second version, third version of the project before the final project? But we are not quite interested with the earlier drafts. We are more interested in the final product. So normally the lecturer said, don't show me your drafts. I don't want to see. But the concept assessment now actually is emphasizing on that of the assessment, the process. We have to look into the process as well, and also student focus. Okay, so we can see that the trend now, we have to have more authentic assessment. We have to change from the assessment of knowing to the assessment of doing. So that's made we have to move away from the written test to more of this performance-based assessment we ask them to do. But I don't know whether it's a good idea or not. But we have to balance it up. I think the knowing and doing actually also they are also important. If we just know how to do and do not know how to do not really know about it, so we have problem with theory without practice is pointless. Theory without practice is pointless. Practice without theory is mindless. Because we do not think, and we just want to practice. Just want to do, and we want to talk about the theory. And also, not good actually. Okay, so, and also we have to do more constructive learning. So, I mean, we want the student to become active learner. We want them to discover by themselves. But you want them to discover by themselves, it's not so easy. Because the the most effective method is to tell them this one is the answer, this is the method, this is the right way to do it. But you want them to discover by themselves, it takes time. It takes a lot of time. So you need to have a lot of patience to deal with our students, to help them to develop the ability in that kind of learning. No matter how, we have to make sure that our test has the quality. So when we talk about quality, what does it mean by quality in the test? Quality actually is closely related to reliability and validity. So you have to make sure that your test, you measure whatever that you're supposed to measure. So your test must have the validity, means that again, you cannot test on something that you do not teach them, and it's not in the syllabus, but in the textbook. That is not valid. So your test must be closely related to the syllabus, textbook, and whatever that have been taught to them. Then it is valid. And must be reliable also. That means the test, whenever you use it, it will give you the same result. That means the good student, they will get good marks. Big student, they get low marks. Moderate student, they get moderate marks. If let's say suddenly the good student get low marks and big student get very high marks, that is not reliable. Maybe the question have leaked out, and maybe the student they have the answer. Maybe they have gotten a copy of the question paper. So that's why the big student they can do very well suddenly. And the good student, maybe they do not have the answer. They only get the marks at the bottom paper. So the reliability actually is related with the marks. Normally, you're not checking the question, but you're looking into the marks, then you know whether it's reliable or not reliable. But the validity is related with the question. You look into the question, you see that this question not in the textbook, this question not in the syllabus, this question has not been taught before, so it's not valid. The question paper is not valid. So if we have deal with that two concepts carefully, then we can ensure the quality of the question paper. So how to overcome the problem? You have to look into the factors. So from here we can see that if the test is too short, cannot. Let's say I want to test your reliability, I just give you one question. Ask you please throw something on that. Then I can tell you whether it's reliable or not reliable. Do you have a marker pen here? Do you have a marker pen? Okay.
I will go and get it.
Have I given you the test before? Creativity test. No one. I think I have not tried before. Okay, let's say if I want to measure your creativity, by giving you one question. Even though it is valid, but maybe it's not reliable. Okay, the question is very simple. One diagram, one circle here. I want you to throw something on the circle. Then after that, I can tell you your creativity level. So I'm using this to measure your creativity. So who is willing to try with the test? Of the creativity. You can throw anything, whatever that you like. Just throw anything there. So this test actually to see the creativity. So I want to use it to show you it is valid, but maybe not reliable. If you want to ensure the reliability, I need to give you many questions. Then I can really confirm that you have creativity and level and so on. But from the one question, I also can see a little bit only of your creativity. Want to try? Just throw anything again. There is no regulation, no rules and regulation for that. So the test cannot be too short, but this one very short, one question only. So one question, then you can question is it valid or not? You can question whether is it enough? Enough. So normally when measuring the creativity, we are looking to 4 aspects. So the first one is the originality. Second one is the fluency, sensitivity, and the third one is the elaboration. So from here, you see that this one, originality, no marks. Fluency, yes, flexibility, also no marks, because you do not come out. You have to come out from the circle. So you come out. Originality, why again? Elaboration, it has been regulated, but not so much like you must take it again. That's very high up. Flexibility, you have to come up with a circle. You have to maybe do not display by the circle as well. Original, you have to do something that is different from other people. There is something that cannot be understood by other people, then very good. Something very weird, something very weird, then very good. It's like that, like people who are in the creative arts, you ask them to design something that is very common one, no marks.
Our design school
very
uses
weird,
this test.
very high marks. Okay.
Our design school uses this test before students enroll in any of the design courses.
Oh, okay. So you're using the test. This is the tolerance.
24 circles.
Creativity test. We test them by using many diagrams actually. We can also give you a diagram like this okay, to test whether how high is your creativity. Let's say another diagram. There are many actually. This one developed by Prof. Okay, who is the creativity guru in the world. In Malaysia, we have Professor Dr. Leonard Yong in the UC Malaya. He is very famous in that. He did a lot of study in Malaysia, Japan, Australia, and America, United States. So according to him, Malaysian and Japanese, they are quite almost the same. But the American, they are very different. American, they are very high in originality. Normally you can throw something that you cannot understand at all. So very high in originality, but not so much of elaboration. Japanese very high, Malaysian also quite high. Principal flexibility we also have. I think this actually is quite true because when you look into the creativity like Japanese, they're normally high in elaboration. You can see that when they do their sushi, they can create many different types of sushi. So just the sushi by itself, so they can do that. But among the Malay, also they found that Cantonese, they are more creative than other Malay group in terms of handicrafts and so on, arts and so on. So again, this is only one test. Test cannot be too short. You have to pick many. Let's say 10 questions or 20 questions. Then you can say that okay, it has the ability. But after some time, then you can see can really confirm. But creativity and the IQ no relationship. My creativity also is roughly like that also. When Dr. Leonard Young tests on me, I also 0 mark in the originality. Because normally we do not dare to do something different. We do not dare to be different. We dare to be the same. We want to be the same. So that's why we are not having originality very much. Like American, very different. They always develop something new, but not put in elaboration. So normally, okay, when we study this global marketing concept, we find that they always lose out. They develop something, then after that immediately adapted and innovated by the Japanese, and the Japanese invented their market, occupied all the markets, and take over the market from the American. And the American have to develop another new product. So by having originality by itself is not important, not enough. Actually, to survive, the elaboration is much more important than the originality. Like Japanese, Korean, Chinese, so on, that they always adapt, modify, change, and make it better. Okay, but by doing the test, okay, we have to make sure we do not have this problem. Okay, let's say if your question can identify the answer. Oh, the answer normally is C. Normally, if we have 5 options, normally it's C. Also not good. Sometimes you do not realize, okay, after you have done the question paper, you just mark it and check one time, then you can see, are you having a pattern in your question paper? If you are having a pattern, then pattern change it. Otherwise, the student can identify. Let's say for true or false statement, maybe true, false, true, true, false, true, false, true, false, more like that. Maybe answer C is the most common answer if you have 5 options. And don't only ask for simple concept, sometimes they just find that Some questions they very difficult to develop, so we just develop the question that we can develop to become very easy. And reliability is the relative is the marks. Let's say you see this student who always get high marks, suddenly get very low mark. Then you need to maybe look into their question paper. By looking into their marks, you will know whether it's reliable or not reliable. If the student they always do not do well, suddenly get very high marks, there must be something wrong somewhere. That is related with the reliability. And normally, again, the test normally should be like that. Okay, should in a normal distribution curve. Many students getting the moderate mark, some students get low mark, some students get high marks, and most of them getting the moderate marks. That is okay. That kind of marks is okay. So it's very reliable. So when you look into the marks, the marks is in a normal distribution curve. Then okay, the test is quite reliable. Why you say so? Because that is the general pattern among our students. Because our students, most of them, they are at the moderate level. It's like our fingers also. If our fingers all having the same length, it's not normal. If they are not the same, it's normal. So there's normal distribution. So let's say if many students moderate level, some good, some not good, it's normal. If many students suddenly very good, maybe the group is the selected one, then okay. Then all very high marks, or all very poor marks. That is okay. Okay, and when we look into this again, we have to come back to the teaching and learning, because the core technology of schooling is relating to teaching, learning, and assessment. You cannot run away from that. And when we are doing the teaching, we have to also maybe relate back to some model like Tyler's model. Tyler's model is the most common one. When we are developing the curriculum, normally we are using the Tyler's model. Tyler's model is like that. Okay, when you write a course description, the course information for the student, you have to start with the maybe introduction of the course. Then after that, you have to write the objectives. You have to identify what are the objectives to be achieved. At the end of the lesson, the student should be able to do what? You must have the objectives there. Then from there, again, you have the objectives. Then you teach them. Then you also, from the objective, you identify the content. What are the content to be delivered? And what are the methods to be used in the classroom? So, according to the model, the Tyler's model, you must have the objectives. Then you select the content. From the content, then you identify what are the best methods to be used. Then after that, you have to also choose the best evaluation method. So you can see that there are 4 components there: objective, content, method, teaching method, and the evaluation. Evaluation is the assessment. So they are all interrelated. And from the evaluation, you get the feedback, then you improve your teaching, improve your learning, improve the teaching method, improve the content, and so on. That is in a circle. So it's a spiral process. And from here, you also can see the relationship. And we call this as constructive alignment. We have to constructively align the teaching with learning and also the assessment. Actually, this has been mentioned in a book written by John Picks and Terry Tan, I think. And that is the original concept introduced by them before this ministry has started with the OBE concept. Have you heard about the OBE, outcome-based education method? This is the method that we use in the higher education, in the Malaysian public university. I think the private university also they have to apply to that concept. And this one which has been introduced by a group of them. So they said that okay, when you are doing your teaching, you have to use the active learning and cooperative learning. Cooperative learning, you have to involve them in a group. You have to have more group assessment, pair work, group work, and so on. And also must have active learning. That means students must be involved in the presentation, discussion, and so on. And okay, you also have to try to use the problem-based learning. So that's why I put in 2 video clips here to show you what does it mean by active learning and problem-based. And okay, then after that, you have to choose the best method. So So the methods we have mentioned, okay, there are many. You can use a norm, you can use a summative, criterion, formative, summative, criterion, or the non-reference, and objective and subjective tests as well. So you have to strike a balance between all the tests. Then you can see okay, whether the outcome has been achieved or not. Okay, so this is the book then. So if we have aligned this together, then we can have the constructive alignment. So okay, it's good okay, to read this book as well. If you can find this book, I think I'm not telling it's category time again. Don't get the category time. So okay, look into the book, then you can see we need to design our teaching and learning by looking into the concept of constructive alignment between the outcomes, the objectives. Actually, last time we talked about objectives, but now we talk about outcomes. The difference actually is like that. Outcome is backward, but objective is forward thinking. Backward, then we think about the outcome, then we come back to look into the assessment and so on. So that's the difference. One is the backward, one is the forward. Usually both actually are the same actually. Sometimes people say the learning objectives actually are outdated already. They want actually general objectives, specific objective, something in the 1970s is outdated. But actually it's still okay, it still can be used actually. Even though now we are talking about the outcome based, but the basic is still there. We need to identify the objective, but only we are changing the concept. Maybe before that we think like this, then we try to achieve. But now we try to think what can be done, then we come back here. But actually the objective and the outcome, you cannot really find a very clear cut there. They are almost the same. The difference is the interpretation and the concept of thinking. When you think backward, when you think forward. You have the objective, then you think what to do. When you have to think what you want your student to achieve, then you go back to see how can you achieve that. Okay, so you have to teach the key concept. Don't teach everything. You have to make the student active. So we have to have some activities. So here also same. Here I have the limitation also. Otherwise I can have more activities, but maybe I have to narrow down the scope. Then we can have many activities. But try to give the information in a short time, so I have to tolerate with that. Okay, to have to use more lecture method. So okay, what does it mean by active learning? Active learning actually doesn't mean that okay, we want the student to maybe move around very much. They can be just sitting there, but we want them to engage in the learning, maybe engage in the thinking, listening, seeing, writing, and so on. If they are not moving, they are not jumping, running in the classroom, it's still okay. They are still active in the learning. Then we can say that we are applying the learning concept, the active learning concept. So okay, you remember better if you are using more of the these sensory learning activities. So from here you can see that you learn more if you are doing it. So that's why now we have to move from the assessment of knowing to the assessment of doing. So we want the student to do it, to present it, to do a project, and so on. That's the reason of it. If we are using all the sensory organs in the study, then definitely you learn better, you can learn better. So okay, you can see the difference between the two methods. Okay. So this method may be good, okay, in terms of the cost and efficiency, but it may not be as effective as the one actually more effective, but yeah, you need to invest more time on that. And here we have one of this video clip here. The visual is here. Okay, let's say active learning, okay, active listening video clip. Okay.
begin
these phrases and sounds after every idea that another person says. I'm going to show you an example. Okay, here's another tip that you're not going to learn in textbook. It's called active listening. When you're having a conversation with someone, or you're in a group of people, like in a meeting, you absolutely must show that you understand what other people are saying, and that you're interested. How do you do that? You need to use these phrases and sounds after every idea that another person says. I'm going to show you an example. Ah, okay. Oh, really? That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I see. Yeah. That's a great idea. I never thought of that. Okay. You get the idea. But you need to show visual and verbal confirmation that you understand what other people are saying. So please nod your head like that occasionally, not constantly, but occasionally after someone has completed an idea, finished a thought. Also, you need to say verbally that you understand what other people are saying. Don't say, I understand. You would be better off saying, I see, or yes, that's a good point, or okay. It's more natural. Okay, well, I hope you have a chance to use these tips in your next conversation. Thank you.
Okay, this is one of the examples of active listening. Okay, active learning means okay, we need to listen, to participate, need to respond to the teachers during the learning process. But most of the time, okay, our students they are quite passive, so we have to try our best to make them involved in the learning process. So we have to ask them questions, and we have to ask them to show whether they can understand or not what is the lecture and so on. And if possible, we will also like to involve them in the Q&A and so on, so that they become more active and participative in the learning process. Okay, if we are using the active learning, then okay, we can encourage the deep learning. But deep learning actually means okay, we try to engage the student in the thinking process. So we want them to think of the answer, and also we want them to take the responsibility for their own learning. So okay, these are some of the explanations. Okay, and the problem-based learning actually is one of the approaches of the deep learning concept. So let's say we look into this, then we can see why we need problem-based learning. Because if we are only giving the lecture by itself, I think most of the students will fall into sleep. So we need to give them some problems okay, to be solved in the classroom. So this situation will normally occur in the traditional teaching. Especially when we have a big group of students. So normally they will go to sleep. Okay, the reason because maybe the environment is not conducive for them. We are not engaging them in the learning process. So in order to make it more conducive for them, okay, we have to plan it, okay, maybe in a better way. So we have to motivate them to ask questions and to participate in the learning. Okay. And how to do that? Okay. One of the method is, okay, we have to give them feedback. I think this one does not come out. We have to, let's say, give them some motivation also when we are giving through the feedback. Let's say when the student have done something very good, maybe very well, then we have to praise them. So this can be called as positive reinforcement. The positive reinforcement must be positive, immediate, and certain. That means if the student have done something very good, then we should give them positive reinforcement. And the reinforcement must be immediate also. So maybe sometimes we have forgotten to give them the feedback. Maybe the praise we tell them, oh, yes, now the student did very well. Then we come back to that and praise them, maybe okay, it doesn't have that same effect. So we have to praise them immediately when they have done it. Maybe just a simple comment, very simple one, okay, very good, okay, well done, okay, excellent, and so on. And must be certain, okay, then student they will try to answer, participate, and so on. Maybe sometimes, okay, the positive reinforcement actually also like that. When we ask a question, we give them time to answer. Because sometimes we too fast, okay, to give our answer for the student because we don't want to wait for them. We find that wasting time to wait for the answer because they might take very long time to think of the answer. So we have to be more patient on that. So okay, another example of the problem base here is like this. Okay, we have to try to integrate that in the learning.
What it was like in school. It was boring. You sat in class, memorized as much as you could, and tried to pass a test at the end. But is that good enough? These days, school can be more interesting and effective by focusing students on work that matters. This is project-based learning explained. Most adults live in a world of projects. Whether it's a job assignment, home improvement, or planning a wedding, we need to actively solve problems
get more information on this project-based learning. So from here you can see that if we have this constructive alignment between teaching, learning, and assessment, definitely we can make our teaching, learning, and assessment more interesting. And okay, what we need to do, okay, now actually we have to give them more project-based learning, more project problem-based learning. Actually, they're quite almost the same project or problem-based learning. So we have to move away from the written test to this kind of assessment. Let's say if we are giving them a lot of writing, quizzes, I think it's not enough. We have to involve them in the doing. We have to move from the assessment of knowing to the assessment of the knowing to assessment of doing. Okay. Okay. Here actually I have an example, but I don't know whether we have time or not. Normally, okay. We can do. Okay, let's say here is an example. Okay, of this active learning. Okay. Example. I have to do very fast. I'll just maybe show you. Okay, the magic in a very short time. Okay, I did show it before. At the time I was using a simple one. Now I am using a more difficult one of magic number. Okay, to show you how to teach students by using the constructive method. So this method actually sometimes is very time consuming because we do not really teach them. We ask them to try to discover by themselves. I want to show you a magic, but actually I'm not showing the magic. In fact, actually I'm teaching the addition of 1 digit to maybe 2 digits and so on. So actually I'm teaching the mathematics addition in the primary school level. But I can use this to teach them. But okay, I can make it into a magic, something like a game for the student to try to find the answer from the learning process. Let's say here, okay, I have many numbers here. I can let you choose any number. Then after that, I can tell you which number that have been chosen by you without looking at it. Okay, want to choose one number from here? Okay, let's choose one number. Okay, quickly. Okay, come out and point at the number and don't tell me. But you have to let your friends see it that you have chosen the number without letting me look at it. But I can tell you, okay, what number that.
Come on,
faster because we have limited time. So yeah, okay. Have you chosen the number? Okay. Okay. So okay, we have chosen one number. Okay, I'm going to ask you, okay, whether the number, okay, is it inside this slide or not? The number chosen inside there, okay. Okay, I have not tried it for some time, so okay. Is it inside here? No. Okay. Okay, is it inside here? No also. Is it inside here? No. Okay. Is it here?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know the number that has been chosen. Okay, it's 35. Okay, so I do not see again. Just now I do not see what number that has been chosen by you, but I know the number. Okay, that is one of the activities that we can use to teach addition of 1 digit to 2 digits in the mathematics standard one. So that kind of activity we call it as constructive learning. So we let the students see how can they get the answer. So that they can figure it out. After that, then we can give them many questions to try to answer. Then after that, they're doing the traditional one. 1 plus 15, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, 1 plus 15, 1 plus 32, or 2, 3 plus something. And so, but before we start with these exercises, we give them some activities. So that is a learning process, but actually it's quite time consuming also because sometimes students see that, is it relevant? but actually it's very well, but sometimes you do not know how the activity. You want to try one more number? Then we have to say more focus another. If not, then we have to focus time is limited. You want to try? Okay,
Yeah.
come. Okay. So okay, maybe again now, okay, we have to move back there.
You must.
So okay. You have to start from here.
Yes, you must start from there.
Okay, so I'm not seeing that now, okay? I have to make sure that I do not see the number, okay?
Okay.
So have you chosen?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, okay, is it here? Is it inside this slide? Okay. No. Here? No. No. Here? No. Okay. Here?
Yes.
Okay. Then, here?
Yes.
Okay. 49. Okay, 49. Correct or not? Correct.
Yes.
So I have done the calculation. Actually, I was doing the calculation, so that's why I can guess the answer. Because I was using the very simple arithmetic method. 1 digit plus 2 digits to get the answer. Maybe more than that, maybe many numbers I total it up together, then I get the answer. So okay. So this one actually one of the constructivist approach. We call it constructivist approach. Just now we talk about constructive alignment. You have to move from the behavioral approach to the constructive approach in our teaching and learning. So that our students become more active and they become maybe more interested in the learning process and they can become maybe better active learner. And from there, okay, we can encourage more learning among our students. Okay, so now we are continuing with this, okay. There are some more things, okay, interesting that I want to show to you, so I have to proceed, okay. So now actually, okay, the assessment, okay, should be moved from the summative type of assessment to the formative type assessment. You have to maybe reduce this summative assessment in the assessment itself. But how much that we can actually reach, okay, because we also have this standard to follow. We also have many rules and regulations for us to follow, given by the MQA and so on. So, like I told you, okay, in the university, we are asked to come up with the final assessment framework so that we can determine which assignment that we can use to live up if the student appeal, okay, to the university that do not happy with the marks. So even though we can have many formative, but we still have to identify one as the final assessment. So that is something that we have to apply to. But the trend now actually, we have to move away from the final exam, move away from the formative assessment, summative assessment to more formative assessment. And the purpose of the assessment is not only to prove, but also to improve. So we have to aware of that, and we have to use the concept of the learning outcomes, because now OBE is the in thing now in all the higher education. All the university colleges, they are asked to follow the OBE format. You have to do the OBE documentation if you want to get your certification. Otherwise, they won't approve. They won't approve your this application to get, let's say, recognition for your program and so on. So you have to follow the format. So we have to stress on this thing, all this, okay, and make sure that there is constructive alignment between the curriculum, teaching, learning, and assessment. And also we know what to achieve. So when we look into this outcome-based, we also cannot run away from the concept of the instructional objectives. So you need to have some understanding of this. Okay, when you are writing your lesson plan, you have to make sure that you have the general objective, specific objectives. But now we are not using the terms of objective, but using outcome. Actually, it's almost the same. The difference is the concept now has been changed. The interpretation has been changed. The outcome is backward thinking. The objective is forward thinking. We plan forward and we try to achieve it, but we might not achieve it. Backward thinking is we know that these are the outcomes that we want to achieve. Then we try to plan it from what we want to achieve or have been achieved to that teaching and learning. So the general normally is quite general. You put the term and say understand. Understand actually is very implicit, very general, and very ambiguous. But it's okay for the general objective. But for the specific objective, you have to make it very specific, explicit, and measurable. You must have the smart features of the name: specific, measurable, attainable, reliable, and has a time frame for the specific objectives. You must make sure that it has all these characteristics. And okay, so for your course outcome, you have to identify at different domains and also at different levels. Okay, you have to know that for this course, maybe you are more concerned of the cognitive development. Another course, sport science program, maybe more on psychomotor, music, psychomotor. If the course is related with leadership, motivation, then you must have more effective domain assessment. The one is relating with the effective one. Effective, we have to maybe use more informal method like observation, maybe participation, and so on to evaluate the student. How can you know the person has higher leadership, has higher motivation? Normally you can only see through the observation. You cannot really see through the written test. So these are the different domains, and these are the terms used. Okay. And when we look into this, actually we are using the Prof taxonomy. It has this limitation as well. Even though until now, nobody can really argue with this model that this is not good. So we know many people say that is not good. But actually we still have to use it because that is the most reliable and usable model to measure the learning outcomes. So when we are writing the question, we can use this to guide ourselves. Let's say we are writing question for the knowledge level, at the knowledge level, understanding level, application, synthesis, equation. Normally, these are tested in the objective question, and this one tested in the essay question. Because it's not easy to write analysis question in the objective test. Even though it is possible, let's say you are doing interpretive exercise or multiple choice question, but you have a lot of information in the diagram, chart, table, to ask the student to analyze. Then you can say you are doing the question at the analysis level. But it's very difficult to do the question like that. So normally you test it in the essay question. For this, effective, for religious teaching, normally they have to use this framework to guide them to evaluate, let's say, to see this student has achieved that level. Maybe at Ustad, religious teacher, they have come to characterization level, very high level. Then we can use that taxonomy to measure and also to develop the question and so on. But for the psychomotor, we also can have different set of this taxonomy. So let's say for Lee Chong Wai, maybe he is at this level and this level, very high, because he's won many games before, but he did lose to Lim Tan. So, but he also won Lim Tan before, so he has come to the naturalization level. But to win in this international game is very difficult because your these other players also that do very well. So it's not only our part that we have to also work hard, but the other part also they also have to work very hard. So when you come to the international level, they have come to the naturalization level. I mean, they can do very well. So the level of measurement is the naturalization. Okay, so this is another set of the taxonomy that we can use to measure, to see whether the student at what level, or maybe we can use that also to develop the question to measure that. So this one actually we seldom do it. Okay, normally we are only focusing on the cognitive domain. Most of the time we are only focusing on the cognitive. So after we have learned about this, then we can use this to develop the table of specification. When you are developing your items, actually you need to have a guide that appropriate to guide you to develop the question. So why we need to know about this cognitive, psychomotor, and affective? Because we want to know how to classify the question into different levels and put it into a table, and then from there we can develop the question. So these are all interrelated. So if we know, let's say, performance level, then we can use it to help us to develop the table of specification. So normally in the table, actually you have this two different columns there. Not two different columns. You have two ways. Chart there. One, the vertical one, actually to list the topics normally. What are the topics to be tested? Normally you put it here. These are all the topics, the content in the test. Let's say you have 10 topics, you can list it down here. But for the language subject, normally we are not testing the content. We are testing the skills. That's why for the language paper, normally we do not write down the topics because we are not testing on the content, we are testing on the skill. So that's why for English paper, normally you divide into different sections like comprehension, grammar, error analysis, and so on. Then then you also have to determine at what level you want to measure the question. You want to measure them at the knowledge level or comprehension level. And as I mentioned before, we cannot put all into one table. Actually, this is too ambitious. Actually, this is table. Normally, we cannot have all the taxonomy, all the levels of performance in one test because normally you need to have many different papers to measure. Paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 will be objective question. Paper 2, essay question. So paper 1 you can measure up to the application level. So we call it lots. Lower order thinking skill level. You just measure the lower order thinking skill. Lots. And for the essay question, we are measuring them at the higher level, higher order thinking skill. So you try to give the question of analysis, synthesis, and evaluation in the essay question. And this one actually is the number of the question. You can do it like this. This is one of the way of doing the table of specification. The other way, actually, we write down, let's say, for this topic, and at the knowledge level, we have 4 questions. But the one actually is the number of the questions inside the test paper. The one actually we are showing question 1 and 3, knowledge question. Question 2, 4, 5, and 8, comprehension question. So there are many different ways to write the table of specification. Actually, there's a method. You can have your own way of writing your table of specification. There's a method. Let's say maybe in your university you have different format. So method. Because when we code also we code our own way. So we do not really follow other people's way. As long as you are following the concept, then it's okay. Doing the table of specification. So this one is one of the method for language paper, another one is for the content-oriented subject. So normally we can only measure maybe lower order in the objective question, higher order in the essay question, and we also try to check do we have a balance there. Sometimes we overlook because we do not have a table to check. So we only do the question at the knowledge level, all the knowledge question. They are asking about the knowledge. So that's why we are not testing them at the higher order level. So we just test them how much that they have memorized from the textbook. So that is not good enough. And from there we can develop a knowledge question. You have, let us say we ask about knowledge, what it is, when is it, where is it. We ask about the terms, definition, ask about the concept, that one are all knowledge question. Understanding normally we have it in the language paper. Let's say you have an essay, then ask them to answer why, and figure out something from the essay. That one is the understanding question. Application, normally again, you need to use some theories, principles to solve the problem. Let's say, even at a very simple level, let's say 1 plus 1 can be considered as application also. 1 plus 1 is application question because you are applying the mathematical concept to solve the problem. 1 digit plus 1 digit is application. For analysis, normally you try to maybe ask them to analyze such the information to identify the answer. Normally, for synthesis, evaluation, normally you have to give them more information. If possible, we give them a chart, a table, a diagram. Then from there, they can get the information answer a few questions. After that, the kind of question required as synthesis question, evaluation question, and analysis question. But the problem is not easy to do that kind of question in the objective test. So that's why we always do it in the essay question. So it's okay. And from there also we can see that there are many ways of reporting the student learning. Normally we are using the letter grade system, let's say A, B, C, D, or maybe CGPA, 3.5, 4, and so on to report our student learning. For competency test, normally we are using pass and fail. At one time, actually, for the teachers in Malaysia, you need to use pass and fail, but many teachers fail in the teacher competency test. So after that, they have changed it to 4 different levels. Level 1, 2, 3, 4. But also at the competency level, I mean 1 and 2, 1 can fail, cannot resit, have to wait for 1 year to resit for the test. 2 fail, they can resit. 3 pass, they can apply for promotion, but they do not get increment. You get 4, you get increment for teachers at one time. But the one has been abolished already, the teacher competency test. And actually, the government was introducing the new scheme, but new scheme also got some problem. Many do not agree. So they have abolished that one, scrapped that one, and revised the whole system by improving the scheme, salary scheme for the teachers. So the exam has been abolished, but they actually we think is the competency test of pass and fail. Pass and fail test normally the passing marks is very high, 80 marks. So that's why so many teachers fail, because the passing mark is 80%. If you cannot answer 4 questions in a paper out of the 60 questions, then you fail. That's why so many fail, because you cannot make mistake more than 4 questions. So competency test normally is very demanding. So the passing mark also very high. Normally it's 80 marks, 90 marks. We talk about the competency test, pass and fail. Let's say doctor, also pass and fail only. They do the medical degree, normally it's only pass and fail. But the passing mark must be very high, so that we can ensure the quality of the program. When we look into this, we can see that normally we seldom use this kind of score in our grading. We normally use the raw score, 90 marks, 80 marks, and so on. But people always are questioning: if you get 80 marks, does it mean that you are very good? Actually, not sure. Because 80 marks, 90 marks maybe is not very good. Why? Why you say like that? Because we do not compare. We do not compare with the norm. We just see the marks by itself. So let's say you get 90, maybe all the other students they are getting 90 and above. Then you are the lowest mark in the class. So by using this Z-score and T-score, then we can compare. So we can compare that by using this formula. X is the mean, is the raw score minus the mean divided by the standard deviation. And this one also said the Z-score, the raw score minus the mean divided by the standard deviation, then you get the Z-score. So I show it in a table like this. Let's say you have the marks, let's say 87, very good. Then you get 58. Are you okay? If your marks is 58, if you look in the raw score, maybe you say, okay, no need to worry, you are okay. Because you passed 58, usually consider pass. Then how about 56, 54? If you just look at the raw score, you do not know. But if you look into the z-score, you can see that actually you get negative marks. So all these students actually they are not okay. Because when we change to z-score, the mark is something like 1.5, 1.2. So actually, the mark is very small. At one time, actually, the ministry were talking about that they wanted to change to standard score. This is a standard score. But the problem is how many parents can understand. Let's say when the student bring back the report card, and the report card showing that your marks for the subject 1.5. This one 2, maybe 0.5. Then the parents will get very angry. Then the student will be punished by the parents because the parents, hey, what do you do in the school? You get actually 0.5 marks. So actually 0.5 marks actually is okay. 0.8 is actually 76 marks. That means okay, you are better than the mean. You are 0.6 okay, marks higher than the mean. The mean actually is 0. You get 0, you are still okay. You are at par with the average student. So that's the problem. Let's say the student get all 0 for all the subjects. And bring back the report card to show the parents. And the parents get very angry. What happened when you get all 0? So actually, the real situation is okay, the students are at par with other students in the subject. The student actually is okay. He's doing fine. And he is at the average level. Yeah.
Excuse me, Prof. When actually the z-score, what happens here is that, because I think sometimes, this one you take, for example, for a class, yeah, are we talking for a class? We can actually use it for just one class? Or can use it for the whole form?
Can for the
doesn't matter, isn't it?
For the whole class also can. Then we can see, okay, we can, let's say, get the trend norm for many classes, then we compare. Then we say that, okay, you get negative marks. Negative, that means they are not performing, you are not at par with the average performer in the class. So you are below the average. If you are below the average, that means you are not okay, the student is not okay. Then the student need to go for maybe additional classes and so on to make them better. Let's say for T-score, also say T-score you get 50 marks, then okay, you are okay. Less than 50 marks is not okay. So for the T-score, actually we standardize it, average at the 50. You get less than 50, you are not okay. But for the raw score, we cannot see. Let's say here you can see. But you change it to this let's say okay, this score, then you can see better. Okay, this T-score and Z-score actually can give us some ideas of the standing of the student in the class, whether the student are performing or not performing. If the student are getting less than lower than 50 in the T-score, actually you can use either one, a T-score or Z-score. Z-score you cannot get lower than 0. If you are getting 0, then okay. You get 1, consider good, 2, very good. As long as bigger than 0, you are okay. You are getting 0 also okay, because you are at par with the average. Then okay, for the item actually also can do some item analysis. Okay. Then from the analysis we can see whether the items that we use in our test are easy, moderate, or difficult. But we normally do not know because we never do the analysis. So that's why we do not know. If we know how to do the analysis, then we can see how many questions are easy questions, how many are moderate questions, how many are difficult questions. then you can understand why the student cannot perform in the test. And how many questions are good items, how many questions are not good items. So by doing the analysis, we can see. So let's say this one actually is a template that I use to analyze. Okay. The student marks. Okay. In a test, let's say in the Z score, T score, if the student gets 50 at the book, it's considered okay. So maybe the raw score actually is 63. But I convert it to T score, it is 50 something. Okay, then below this actually okay, let's say 60 something. Actually, they are below the average. So because sometimes the paper may be very easy, so the student get high marks, but actually they are not performing because they are still below the average when we compare to the average. So this is the non-reference assessment concept. And okay, for the test paper, we can also use some calculation. These are classical testing theory method to analyze the test item to see the difficulty level of the question. If many questions are very easy, then the paper maybe is not good, too easy. If the questions are too difficult, also not good. If the questions are at the moderate level, you have also difficult question, easy question, in a balance, in a normal curve, then you are okay. Then the question actually is of high quality. And also we can also look into other aspects like these are the formula to calculate the item difficulty. And index, let's say 70% of the students can answer very easy. Let's say you give a question, 7 out of the 10 students can answer very easy question. Then you can see how many questions are easy questions. If less than 30% of the students can answer, then very difficult. For the discrimination, if the item can discriminate well, that means can discriminate more than 40%, that means the item is good. That means if you give the item to the student, which student can answer? Which student cannot answer? Then the item is very good. If the item you give to the student, which student cannot answer, then very bad. So how do we know? Then normally from the calculation we can see whether the good student can answer or not. How do we know they are good or not? Then normally based on their marks, if you get high marks, you are a good student. You get low marks, you are a big student. So and the concept actually also very biased. Okay, biased to the good student. The good student must get good marks. A big student must get low marks. That is okay. So in the assessment, discrimination is acceptable. But in the social aspect, discrimination is very bad. You cannot discriminate our student. But if your test cannot discriminate the student, then the test cannot serve the purpose. So your test actually is not valid also. So you have to make sure your test can discriminate your student. So from the analysis, you can see how many items are considered good question. Strong. Okay, you have many good items, then your question paper is of high quality. So if you can have some method, but here I think we have the limitation. Then you also can check the distractor. How many distractors are confusing? By using the template, we can just do the analysis very fast. But actually, I have developed a software, and we have won gold medal at the UC level, and also at the Malaysian Technology Expo's competition in year 2011. We won gold medal in the competition in the Malaysian Technology Expo, the one at the PWTC. Then that competition actually at the international level. Now this template actually we have developed into a software. So the software actually can use to do online tests. You put in the items, then immediately you go to the item bank, then you can identify the question is knowledge question, understanding, application, and so on when you put in. After the students set for the test, you just click, immediately you can do the analysis. What is the marks? What is the level of the item? Is it difficult? Has quality, no quality, and so on. So we can use a software to do that. So okay, when we come to this end, I want to summarize the lecture today by emphasizing on these three aspects. First, the assessment must capitalize on advancing technology. We have to use the technology when we are in the 21st century. If possible, we have to integrate the technology into the teaching, learning, and assessment. Online learning, online assessment, and so on. Everything we do that is integrated. So when you are sitting for a test, you have also all the information for the assessment. And the teacher just need to know how to interpret it. The teacher does not need to learn how to do the calculation because it is maybe too difficult and too much work for the teacher to learn. Because we have other more important thing to do, the core business that we have to focus. And must be contextualized and also must serve the teaching and learning. So we must ensure the alignment between these three components in our teaching and learning. So if we can do that, then definitely we are practicing again the 21st century assessment approaches in our teaching and learning. I think that's all. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna pick up the pieces and build a Lego house. If things go wrong, we can